6 cases, all shocking and disturbing. Welcome back to Horrify After Dark. Video 1. Subsidence. Pakistan, a few months ago. For this video, which is quite dark and tragic, I decided to do some digging within Pakistani social media spheres. This is where I learned that 99% of them share the same opinion on this particular video, which shows a man, whose identity is unknown, smiling. The reason is because he is currently recording a TikTok. The Pakistani view on this is one of disapproval, as they believe these TikToks don't achieve anything other than quote-unquote satisfying the desires of individuals wanting to create videos. Many of them fail to take into account the risks involved. Unfortunately, making this TikTok was the last thing this man would ever do, as the flooded river, of course, compromised the banks. This led to a collapse right where the man was standing. Nobody could do anything to help the guy out. I've scoured Pakistani media and news reports. All of them confirm that this man did indeed pass away. None have mentioned if his body was ever found. This video is the last his family have of him. Video 2. Kerfuffle. China sometime in 2025. Information? 0. This is one of the rare cases where information cannot, and I mean cannot, be found. Whether it's because the video is just not found anywhere anymore, or because it's purposely hidden, we won't ever know for a fact. However, I came across this randomly one day while browsing through the internet. It had a handful of views, probably not exceeding 200 to 300. It made me think, how many similar incidents happen daily, but are never recorded or posted? The subtitles here are by far and away the most important thing to look at.
你要干啥了？站这儿，你站这是要啊！你要撞我吗？撞假的，你站这儿来。我站这里。操你妈，等我！来。
You could immediately tell that this was a major argument that took place. However, I want to point to this part. He cursed a man's mother, which prompted him to get into his truck and then drive right at him. Here's where the file name also becomes important. Translating directly from Chinese, it's called Reincarnation in Another World Tutorial.mp4. Sure, this could be some dark and twisted humor, but I think we can all tell the outcome here even with the cutoff. And of course, this is why I couldn't show the last second of the clip. Video 3. Awareness. The official definition of awareness is knowledge or perception of a situation or fact. It is something extremely important in many cases, and unfortunately, some people lack awareness in matters that are very dangerous.
Me ajuda, caralho. Não põe água não, tinha que ser leso. Tira daí. Não põe água.
To put a grease fire into water just screams lack of awareness, but the guy recording also knew this, yet didn't stop him. After scouring the internet for a very long time, this is the longest version of the video I have found. The only positive is that this isn't found footage, and the guy likely survived. But this should definitely be taken as an important lesson. Video 4. Doom. This is Natalia, also known as Natasha Nagovetsina. She's 47 years old and is a mountain climber from Russia. She first gained fame 4 years prior, where she refused to leave her husband's side while on a climb after he suffered a stroke. He didn't make it. This experience didn't stop her, and in August, she joined a group and set out to conquer Pobeda Peak, also known as Victory Peak. It has a height of 24,406 feet, or around 7,440 meters, making it one of the highest peaks on the planet. But there are limits and circumstances. This is what she had to say in a documentary recorded prior.
А думаем, а не дай бог провалится, как ему потом объяснять-то это все по-английски. Я говорю, нет, давай уже в середину.
She did indeed reach the summit on August 12, 2025, but while descending, she broke her leg. Here is where things get messy. Very messy. Within days of her injury, fellow climbers launched attempts to reach her. One of them was Italian mountaineer Luca Senegaglia, 49, who had befriended her on the mountain. He climbed the mountain not once, but twice to deliver essential supplies including a gas stove, food, a sleeping bag, and water, on the hopes for her to be rescued and return home. He died in his second attempt due to frostbite. At this point, things have gotten serious and news headlines are being made forcing the Kyrgyz military to act. An Mi-8 helicopter was thus dispatched. It crashed before reaching the area. You see, it's no small feat to get a helicopter to that height and keep it stable enough to rescue a person. In fact, it's unheard of. Nobody has ever been rescued from Pobeda Peak just because of how treacherous it is. They didn't stop at one helicopter, they deployed a second one. It failed to reach. This is where drones were used, and what you're about to see is unprecedented. The footage you just saw, captured by the drone, was likely her final moments. You see, days later, a thermal imaging drone was sent and found no signs of life. She was stuck up there for over a week. Video 5. Justice. This particular incident is very different because I was made aware of this by Attervox Music. He actually sent me this along with a lot of information and context. You should check him out on YouTube. The footage captures something crazy, but the context is even crazier. A Mitsubishi Mirage struck 21-year-old Zachary Karach in Nashville, Tennessee, while he was using a crosswalk. To make matters worse, the driver fled the scene, making it a hit-and-run incident. Zachary was actually celebrating his birthday and unfortunately had to be faced with this. His injuries were described as serious, but fortunately non-life-threatening, and his mother did confirm he's expected to make a full recovery. Now, you'd think this would be a pretty straightforward case due to the dashcam, but the driver still hasn't been detained or even found. Video 6. Photograph. Take a look at this. This is a photograph from 1953. On the left is Philip Noble. He would grow up to become a football or soccer player. On the right is Ross Monroe. He would go on to become a high school principal. Both will not live to see 40. You see, this photograph, although harmless at first glance, is horrifying. That's because it was captured in Wittenoom, Australia. In the 40s, this town was prospering, the industry was strong, and opportunities were plentiful. Today, it looks like this, completely abandoned, and the reason is visible in this very picture. The town was home to asbestos mines operated by the Colonial Sugar Refining Company. The blue asbestos they mined supplied the world with minerals used for cement, tiles, and insulation. Again, take a look at that picture. Philip and Ross were playing in an asbestos sandpit. Imagine all of this paired with Australia's scorching heat. Furthermore, an area at the end of the mines was set up where all the asbestos could be put. These bags or sacks were thrown over the shoulders of workers, who then would go and drop them off at the wharf. Basically, not only were they exposed in pretty much every way to asbestos, so were the people on the ship. Dr. Jim McNulty, Australia's former Commissioner for Health, visited the place in 1957 and found a high degree of lung disease from X-ray scans. He promptly reported this to the higher-ups, who did nothing. The mines were shut in 1966 because they were no longer profitable. Since 20,000 men, women and children who worked or lived in Rittenum died as a direct result of mesothelioma, or another asbestos-related disease.